I'm Emily Galagaski with Women 2.0's In Conversation series, here with Jennifer Pahlka. She's the general manager and co-chair of the Web 2.0 events at TechWeb.
My role really is to do everything that no one else will do on the event. I manage it overall from a business perspective, and I also chair about half of the event. I work with my partner at O'Reilly, Brady Forrest, who chairs the technical portion.
And why do you do this work? What compels you? What brings you into the office every day?
And the truth is that it's been a great job for me, because what it does, it really connects people, it connects ideas. And when a conference does what it's supposed to do, it doesn't just reflect back to a community who they are, but it really can move an industry and a community forward. And the times in my career when I feel that's been really true, it's been extremely satisfying for me.
What advice would you offer for young women working in technology?
The advice I would offer for women working in technology is to not get too hung up on the technology itself. And I think I mean that in a couple of ways. First of all, people get intimidated by it. And especially when I worked in the games industry, games are incredibly difficult pieces of technology to build, much more in some ways than the web, right? Very intense graphics programs and stuff, and you're talking about a level of sophistication that your average person really is never going to understand. But you don't have to. And that's what I would tell people working for me is when you're listening to conversations between technical people, don't try to understand exactly what they're saying. Try to listen for the parts where people feel passionate or are very connected to something. If you can tune into what people care about, you'll understand what's going on in the industry. You'll hear where the spots of heat are, where the tension is. That's what's going on, and that's what you need to play up in your conference. That's what you need to explore and exploit. If you can do that, it doesn't matter if you understand exactly what they're saying about the technology. Now, working in the web industry, I think I'd take that another step, which is that technology is only good if it really is doing something interesting. And Web 2 is known really for being about really people. And that's what conferences are about. So if you can find the ways that you're connecting people and connecting them to people who can help them, other people who are passionate about what they're passionate about, you're doing the same thing. So keep a focus on the people and the connections. Don't worry so much about the technology.
Are there any mistakes that you made earlier in your career that you would warn other people against?
I think the main thing would be burnout. When I first started working in this industry, we were doing a conference for several thousand people, and we had about 4 staff. And we were doing multiple conferences a year pretty quickly. And I think probably the first 3 years I must have worked an average of 18-hour days during times. And it was wonderful. I think it was worth it in many ways. But you do have to take time, slow down, stop, and regenerate yourself and find out what's important. I did get a review one time, I think, that said, work smarter, not harder. And as much as that's a cliche, people really need to hear it.
Did you ever think you'd be in this business?
I don't think anybody grows up and says they're going to be a conference manager or a conference director. I certainly didn't. I don't think, even probably through college, I wasn't aware that this industry existed. Growing up, I remember telling my mother that I wanted to be a veterinarian. It turns out I don't like medicine very much. And then later on in life, actually, I wanted to be a librarian or a museum director. I think that the parts of that speak to my current role are the information part, the sharing of information, and also the presentation of it. Part of what we do is sort of curating in the same way that museum directors do or curators do. I think this is a great event. A great industry for people coming up, and especially for women, because it really allows you to see the connections in an industry and put them together in a way that makes sense for people. And I think that if that's something that you enjoy doing, it's a career that people ought to consider.
Looking forward to your next conference, who are you most excited to hear speak?
There's so many great speakers at the conference this year. I'm very excited to hear from Padmasree Warrior, who is the CTO of Cisco. I just think she's so smart and has so much to say about where this industry is going. The other one I would probably have a real personal connection to is that we have the founders of Threadless, who are coming to speak. And if you don't know them, they're a T-shirt company, but what they really are is a community. All of the T-shirts that they produce are designed and voted on and selected by the members of this community, which anybody can join. And I just think it's just genius how they've made an entirely new business model out of the idea of reaching out to people and connecting people. And so I'm actually going to do that interview on stage, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Thanks for listening to the In Conversation series. To learn more, please visit women2.org.